A Minor Variation by Not Murphy. Chapter 12 For Want of a Battle, Part 3. Nobody could say how long they had been walking. Less than a day, more than an hour, probably. The path began veering upwards, offering relief from the endless forests that spoke of jungles, bogs, thickets, and every other tangible plant life and animal forms. Each pony was lost in their own thoughts, so 6 ponies were startled when Jackie spoke, including herself. Oh no. No way. Look at that cliff out there. See how the edges is right undercut there? I may not be an engineer or a university school pony, but that don't look like the most stable footing I've ever laid eyes on. By silent agreement, the 6 cast votes, was as to say every pony but Twilight raised their hoof, so she rolled her eyes and raised hers as well. Progress slowed down as they left the path, made their way through the tangle of trees and bush and vine. Twilight considered the array of plants, comparing and contrasting the vast web of life to the sweet apple acres. It certainly has a beauty of its own, and the way these disparate lives look after each other, even while trying to feel on or steal resources from another, it has a fair grace to it. I certainly don't feel like an active part, but I do feel tolerated. Diane took point, mincing through scrub and bush with practiced ease, pointing out dangerous plants, hidden predators, and other dangers. Relief from the stress of accidental exposure kept any pony from asking her about her apparent familiarity for a while. So, Diane, right? How come you know about this place? The Blue Pegasus asked as they reached the wide clearing. Instead of a verbal answer, Diane raised her hoof to her mouth in a shh motion, pointing to a field of deep red flowers, like a beautiful velvet carpet, until one noticed the white tips of large rib cages stepping up from the field, like a cave alien structure. Velvet poppies. The pollen has a powerful sleep agent and is easily jarred loose. Diane spoke in a hushed tone, visibly agitated for the first time most of the ponies had seen. I'm afraid this path is close to us. We will lose a great deal of time avoiding this, as well as risking getting lost. No, we are not turning back, Twilight said between clenched teeth. Give me a minute. I can get us past this. Okay, time to put this talent of mine to the test. She cleared her mind and reached out to the plants, boxing her concern for her brother as tightly as she could, and ignoring the energy she had already spent earlier. Jackie clenched her teeth and gestured at Fluttershy when she looked about to ask what was going on. A noise was heard, a dry, creaking, and slow slithering. Rarity caught the motion first, vines snaking their way from between the trees, passing overhead to cross over one another in a clumsy, weaving motion. The vines moved haltingly forward, dipping down, more vines sneaking for support on the edges. What was less of a bridge and more of a funnel formed above the ponies, reaching with agonizing slowness for the other side of the clearing. The 5 looked at the one, purple unicorn aglow, blazing horn nearly incandescent white, sweat drenching her fur as she squeezed her eyes tightly shut. She looked like she was trying to avoid being crushed by a great weight. She relaxed, and eventually gasped for breath. Fluttershy Diane short to make sure she was unharmed. The other 3 looked up to behold a tanglewood of vines strewn above the field, narrowing as they approached the center gap, to a single vine for a pony's life in the middle. Diane was the first to try the bridge, reasoning she was most likely to recognize another threat on the other side. The others watched tensely, groggily in Twilight's case, as the pink pony reformed the perilous perambulation. Pausing at the other side, she waved all clear before hopping out of sight. Next, Rainbow Dash made the crossing, using her wings to balance herself as she trotted right across the middle stretch. She gave a hooves up once out of danger. Fluttershy had to restrain the urge to flap her wings, afraid it would stir the deadly pollen below, and made her way, grinding her teeth the whole way. Rarity gestured for Jackie to go next, but the Earth Pony shook her head vigorously. Rarity needs me to lift Ruti across. You need to go first. I don't know how long I can keep the vines in place. Twilight croaked. I guess this kite's getting bigger and bigger. I thought you already did your magic hokum. Ain't the vines holding themselves up? No, I asked for a favor. This is not unnatural for them. I'm having to keep them in place. Please, you need to go. I can't do it. If it's that tenuous, she could drop it by accident. Like, she could drop it on purpose and tell the rest she tried her darndest. Jackie shook her head, trying to remove petty doubts. I know she wouldn't do that. But maybe some little voice from the dark of her mind could distract her. It'd only take a moment of wakefulness. Shame and fear warred in her heart. Twilight grabbed Jackie by both shoulders and looked into her eyes. I will never drop you. Right now. Right now my brother's unconscious. Hurt. And I can't do a thing for him. When we finish this, I know he'll be okay. But if I let anything happen to you, if I deny Apple Bloom her sister, how could I ever face? Tears splashed to the ground. We all have to earn our way home. Please, just trust me, you jackass! No offense. No, Tiger. The sun changed its tone, Jackie out of her eternal struggle, as she laughed. In the middle of all this insanity, she laughed. Okay, I'm going. Now scratch, you hear? What has he been afraid of? Oh, goody four-shoes don't have it in her. She didn't even realize he was across, until she saw the horrified expressions on the faces of Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy. Diane didn't look approving either. There's Bad Flake, and then there's Plum Crazy Apple. You could have at least slowed down when you went over that single fine. But no! There you are, chuckling to yourself and trying like it was the marketplace. What gives? Rainbow's diatribe was delivered after the ponies concerned were safely on the ground. Fluttershy touched Jackie's shoulder.
We were both so worried for you, Rainbow couldn't even breathe.
The mare in question seemed to still have a problem, as she choked on Fluttershy's words. The two unicorns were added to the group, as Rarity set Twilight on the ground.
Oh no, dears. I'm fine. And our little druid here is none the worse for her trip. No need to ask.
All replies were cut off by the loud snapping noises, as the vines began to give way overhead. By mutual consent they fled, Jackie scooping Twilight onto her back with practice slide. Huh! Never thought anything good would come from my state as a rodeo clown. What the hell Treble Shoes is doing? The grounds having cleared slightly, they kept a good pace. Even after Diane and Fluttershy agreed they were sleeping out of range of the pollen. Perhaps it was the adrenaline. But the ponies were feeling less oppressed by their surroundings, and started sharing stories of their lives. I see turns to the old stallion and says, Honey, this one's eating the popcorn. They all shared a laugh. Ha ha! And that's why I don't think America is anymore.
But the rate of growth would mean...
Twilight was shushed to silence, as Diane called for caution. Her warning turned pointless, as a roar crashed over the forest. 12 feet tall, part lion, part bear, draconic wings, and a wicked scorpion tail. The monster smashed a tree out of its way. It growled as it searched the area, sniffing and snorting, and let loose a titanic growl as it caught sight of the ponies, and advanced at them at an alarming pace.
That's a manticore!
Verity shouted.
They're supposed to be extinct!
Try telling that one! I'm sure it'll play dead if you give it a good argument. Rainbow shouted, pushing the other ponies to move. Twilight had started another spell. Rarity caught her eye and shook her head. Snatching up some sharp-looking rocks, the white unicorn hurled them with as much telekinetic force as she could muster. The ones that didn't bounce harmlessly for the creature's hide gouged holes in the ground and shattered tree branches. Looked like the battle might be won, when Fluttershy managed to lift the behemoth off the ground in a tornado, until it flapped its own wings and sent her careening off.
Wait! There may be another solution,
Diane pleaded. Jackie charged the creature, leaving to headbutt it in the chest, and fell back, stunned herself. The monster was enraged now. Rainbow raced out to pull the earth pony from the path of the pursuing paw, lined with sharp claws as long as a pony's leg.
This will not accomplish our goals! Some pony will be hurt!
Twilight lined up with the others, for a front on the charge, when Diane leaped into the middle of the field. "Be thou still!" she cried, gasping in annoyance. Pony and Manticore alike looked at her as she trotted toward the monster.
"Beat the air, walk upon the earth, flow like water,"
she repeated to herself. The monster took a swipe at her, where she had been. Jumping off the back, its paws, she continued past the beast, seemingly oblivious to further onslaught, always slightly out of the way, a hair's breadth from destruction. When she was out of range, the creature dropped, nonplussed. She veered off the path and into a bush. Rainbow Dazz's brow went from sweat of fear to furrowed concentration.
"That technique! I've never seen it before."
Moments later, Diane returned, dragging a mealy mass nearly as large as she was. The creature would have been adorable without a razor-sharp scorpion tail. The pink pony fled when the Manticore approached, the beast rumbling at a much lower volume. Parent and child reunited, Diane and her friends took their chance to pass unharmed. Safely past the oversized reunion, Diane returned to her companions, her face a mixture of satisfaction and relief.
"I motioned for quiet because I heard a cry of juvenile despair. The beast has not the mane of a male lion, so I sensed the situation, but had trouble locating the cub with the extraneous noise."
She scowled at the other ponies, who were busy looking elsewhere.
"No matter. I am pleased none of you are harmed. The female of the species is most deadly after all."
The forest became denser again as the group traveled. They kept up their conversations at a lower volume. To distract themselves from the feeling of confinement, it had become so dark that Twilight and Rarity had to summon a glow to their horns so the party could see one hoof in front of the other.
"So, Diane, I wonder if that poppies would grow normally in this region?"
Twilight asked, questions nagging at her as she regained her mystic reserves.
"They would not. When I retrieved the Manticore's cub, it was tied with a black rope that I had to cut it free."
She mirrored Twilight's concern.
"So, what we fear is the case then. Nightmare Moon is trying to stop us. It's setting traps. Well, now we're sure of it, we can be better prepared when she next will." Ah!
Rarity's speech was cut short by a ghastly glowing face that leered from a tree trunk. Similar screams sounded from all sides, as the ponies discovered their entire voices foul and threatening. After squeaking once, Diane shook her head in concentration.
"Perhaps a song from my childhood will help."
"Don't waste your long sugar cube. I ain't real pretty to look at, but they're not exactly moving in for the kill. If this by the... Nope, not sadly saying that line. Let's just be thankful Nightmare Moon thinks she's dealing with Phyllis. Have a good laugh and be on her way." Jackie was interrupted in her suggestion by the arrival of another pony, a unicorn mare of indeterminate age, pale blue hide with a mane of hair so red it looked black. On her back flank was an inky blue heart with a jagged line through the middle of it, cutting it.
"You're Jennifer Heartbreaker of the Lunar Rebellion! But that was 800 years ago. No way you could be alive! What are you?"
Pitiable creatures. Her voice within the pony's ears, without seeming to travel in intervening space.
"I will give you one chance to submit before I lay waste to the lot of you."
A crackling bolt of lime green and midnight purple struck Fluttershy as she charged.
"Time's up. Wither and die!"
Black fog enveloped the ponies in the blink of an eye, and all fell. Thus ends the tragic tale of futility. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. Short story, but I guess I'll do the review now. This story was pretty dang good, and I really liked it, and the characters were unpacked, and the entire story flowed at a good pace. I really kind of do miss it. I feel kind of down that it ended in such a horrible way. Well, that was one down, thousands more to go. I'll see you next time. And I'm back. Applejack looked up at her parents. The strong, noble, good earth, and wise, skillful Applebaum was content. Nearby, her brother teased butterflies and laughed, content that nothing in this world could harm him, while his parents sat vigil. Granny Smith hummed to herself as he tunelessly pared apples for the delicious pie he would bake that evening. Life was good. Everything was simple and kind. Aunt and Uncle Orange had visited a few days ago, bringing tales of the mysterious big city, and good news about the new markets for the Apple family wares.
Apples!
If I lay here, if I just lay here, y'all will lie on me and just forget the world. If I don't move, nothing will never change. The thought was comforting at first, but it seemed like it was out of place. Of course he couldn't lay here forever. The picnic would be over when the sun started back toward the western part of the sky. Then he would return to harvest. Father said he was old enough to help with bucking this year. It filled her with pride to think she'd be knocking apples into buckets, rather than storing them or having to use the ladder. She didn't like the ladder. It embarrassed her. Reminded her she was too little to do the hard work. Daddy never did understand why I wanted to do the hard stuff. He'd say, "My little apple, don't be in such a rush to grow up. There'll be enough time for that when you're older." There it was again, the thought like a trickle at the back of her brain. She shook her head to try and clear it. Her mother looked down, amusement tinged with concern. "Zachary, honey child, are you okay? I do hope nothing is upsetting you. We don't want you to run away again now, do we?" Run away? I hadn't ever done that this late. Applejack stood up, unsure on her much shorter legs. Legs she had outgrown years. "Now, stop it!" She fought against the alien thoughts. "You stop messing with my head, you hear?" "Oh, I'll do like Uncle Dumplings being a bad pony." Good Earth's deep and even tones were off key, twisted somehow. A tone of snark he had never used in life present. "Yeah, you're not real. You are not my parents." She stood up. "Oh my, what a terrible thing to say. You're right, honey Grips. She is a bad pony. Stop this!" She stomped to demonstrate her frustration. "Little filly, you know what bad ponies get?" The two figures leered at her, seeming to grow in height. "I'd really like to wake up now, brain!" Her eyes crossed as she tried to address her inner self. "Dead parents!" shouted the impostors in unison, flesh melting and tissue bubbling as they dissolved into nothing. She screamed. Jackie screamed in horror, then in anger. Last to hold on to control of something as pressure built again, worse than ever before. "None of you are real. I'll know who I am!" "Name it."
Now, boy, but I am.
No, you do not get to do that! Jackie's mind raced as she heard Apple Bloom's voice.
First you ran off and abandoned me. Of course you blamed me for Mama's death. Way to go blaming a fool, by the way. Then you tortured me my whole life by sending just enough letters to remind me I'll have a sister I'll never get to see. I finally managed to get a replacement. Like a better sister. One who could teach me things and make sure I'll get a good school and a real future. And what do? You beat the living tar out of her! Do you just want to make me miserable? Is that what this is all about?
The apparition's eyes filled with tears. Hurt, rage, terrible hope, mixing like the cement of despair. Jackie couldn't help it. She scooped the little filly up and squeezed her tightly against herself. "Thank you, Blue." "So, you're mentally retarded too? I'm telling you that you do nothing but ruin my life!" "Thank you so much for sending that letter. I don't think I was strong enough to come see you on my own. I will never forget that you did that. And I'm sorry I got mad and tried. We've been patching things up. And what it was worth, I'm sorry."
What are you?
The apparition turned to ash and faded as the entire scene faded to white. It was replaced by an almost pitch black forest. only illuminated by cruelly grinning faces on a gnarled tree. All around her, her friends lay sprawled on the ground, limbs twisting as their own nightmare scenarios played out. You made a mistake there, missy! Applejack glared at the unicorn. Heartbreaker. Go be your last, if I have anything to say about it. Jackie checked her saddlebags, relieved to still see she had them. Of course I still had them. That night thinks her magic will beat anything. She didn't count on a pony who could run from anything, even her own guilt. Now, I'm disappointed with your service, ma'am. I'm going to have to ask to see your manager. The Night Sharon roared in anger, firing off a volley of purple and green bolts. Jackie ducked and dodged through the trees, laughing at the unicorn's attempts to kill her or put her back to sleep. Chasing after the earth pony, Heartbreaker began to hear twanging noises and a sound like wires being tightened. Heedless, she charged forth. It took her a moment to realize she had lost sight of her quarry. She snorted in rage as she searched for the mare. From the trees, the sounds of guitar floated down. Drum, drum, pause, drum, bucket! Jackie looked down in front of Twilight and began shouting in her ear. You wake up late for school, Mayor, you don't want to go? You ask your mom please, but she still says no? You miss 2 classes and no homework? Or your teacher preaches classes like you're some kind of jerk? Well, you gotta fight for your right to party! The guitar bucked and wailed like a living animal. Falling over to Rainbow Dash, she poked a Pegasus on the side of the head. You passed because you smoking, and he said, no way! The hypocrite smokes 2 packs a day. Man, living at home is such a drag. Now your mom threw away your best porno mag. Busted! You gotta fight for your right to party! The squealing reverb filled the forest. Night Unicorn couldn't seem to concentrate. Jackie slid between Rarity and Fluttershy, laughing between verses like a madmare. Don't step out of this house if that's the clothes you're gonna wear. I'll kick you out of my home if you don't cut that hair. Eyes began opening as the spell lost its strength. She stood directly over Diane and screamed in her ears. Your mom busted in and said, what's that noise? Oh, Mom, you're just jealous because of the girls and boys. You gotta fight for your right to party. Jackie whipped her head around to see her friends awake, if confused. Come on, y'all sing with me! Party! He echoed it back to her without questioning what was going on. General Heartbreaker screamed in rage as her body dissolved into a white light and vanished into a flash, leaving behind the covered trees, stunned and gnarly trees without faces. And that, girls, is how you defeat a Tartarus spawn pony of darkness. Applejack gasped, her exertion catching up with her. The others rolled her up onto their backs. And Applejack just makes the 10th badass thing you've done so far in the history of the show? Of course it is. You just haven't had a chance to read Immortal Games, so you haven't added all of my awesome accomplishments. Rainbow Dash turned her head to glare at Jackie. You do realize I've never looked at porn, right? Circle Cube is a lyric. Play it now, man. Sats, woke you up, didn't it? Leave it to see flames. They strode forward, laughing. Eventually, they had to let Jackie down. Nothing to quiet soul as embarrassing as being carried in his lair. The ponies continued making bad jokes, however, so the last continued. Right up to the edge of the raging river and the rapids. Sight of swirling swells slowed the ponies in front, who had no time to warn those behind them. As they're sorting themselves out of the invisible pony pileup, the band looked to the river. Wait. Don't tell me. I get to voice the myth, the legend once more.
This part is flat. Why is it so turbulent?
Fluttershy pondered.
Perhaps there's some underground volcanic vents.
Verity considered. We smell sulfur, or at least feel the same if that were the case, Twilight countered.
Perhaps we can ask that large serpent over there, flailing around and crying.
Diane considered. Indeed, there was a massive purple river serpent? It was long and sinuous, with an outrageous coif of orange hair that could have hidden a family of deer, and had room left over for a bear. A mile as long as a cart was draped with a further orange, and water flew everywhere from tiers of river water. Jackie stepped forward, waiting to talk their way across. Uh, begging your pardon, sir, but, why are you crying? The surfer stopped thrashing the ponies. Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's because of this. He gestured to the right side of his massive moustache, was ended raggedly and uneven in a mess of cut hair. Kettle
Really? You are raging and making this river impassable because of a mustache?
Diane couldn't even summon the plastic columns she usually displayed. This was just plain stupid. So much swag, ruined by one error cut! I tell you, this will not stand. Do you hear me? This will not stand! Rainbow leapt onto the serpent's back, climbing by hoof and wing, flapping madly and flailing into her saddlebags as she yelled. The serpent quailed as he landed on his snoot, wielding for what looked like a pair of hedge clippers. Justice shall prevail! She cried, diving at the mustache. No pony can look. The screams and pious cries suggested a slaughter on a scale no pony should be capable of. Fireside wept to think her oldest friend had finally gone out the deep end. The least she could do was end this quickly. She steeled her nerves and turned to behold a river serpent with a very stylish sort of mustache and a rainbow-colored rope necklace.
Rainbow? Yes, what is you? Oh my.
There was Dash, but there was no rainbow to speak of. Her head was bare, and her tail was perhaps 3 inches. So, I can have a set of sage fastened for you in, I say a week. Probably get them barks down to her for you. Trust me, the sage will seal the deal. You'll look like a swinging private detective. Not my usual style, but I think I can. The river servant proceeded what his manic stylist had said. What? Oh, I don't think so. Magnet PI? Well, maybe. But thank you so much. I just didn't know what to do. You ponies want me to cross the river? Allow me, by all means. Rainbow Beast extended his leisurely length across the river as the ponies hopped from hump to hump. Fluttershy raced out, and Rarity tackled Rainbow, crying at the pig because his personal sacrifice. Oh dear, your beautiful mane! How could you power the pot with it? Not really that big of a deal. I was growing it out so I could cut it and donate it to the Camel Pony Society. They could blend my mane to match a lot of fun ponies' original colors. I do it all the time. Figured the fella needs something with a little flash to pick him up, right? Rarity schooled her face to hide her absolute defeat as she held the Pegasus up. Well, in any case, I think it was a noble sacrifice. Also, your crochet technique is amazing. What's your secret? Just use my wings. The flight feathers can catch and pull 4 rings at a time. Thanks, though. The Pegasus trotted forward as the group continued. Fluttershy flew back over the gourds after repairing the rope bridge, smiling.
I think we're close. Maybe your moon's attempt on me wasn't even worth mentioning.
From the pony's mouth, truth flows. Oh, boo, 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 boo! I can't believe it. We all have our loyalty tests, and you're skipping. Oh, boo! That's just wrong. I know. Come on. That's a little bit cool fight. Anything, determination. Staying with your friends through music. Oh, come on. All this coolness, all this alterations of the test, and you went out in the last one. Boo! I think we've had about enough of being on the defensive. I'm calling a huddle. Rarity spoke as the group gathered toward her. Now, before we start this, I think it's obvious we're being spun on, so I'm going to cast a spell to prevent us from scrying until we move again. Hello? Hello? See you tomorrow, guys! I can't freaking believe this. Kiss out on the loyalty test.